Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance. We listen, guide, and connect small business startups and entrepreneurs. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started the Facebook Live show. It is live. If you have any questions, ask away. If you're watching this after the fact on another channel, please ask your questions and they will be answered. I would like to thank Community Now magazine for their support. They engage, educate, and inspire us to be stronger together as a community. I am pumped about today's guest, Dafne Canales Lees, the founder of Spartan Spartan Trustini. Dafne, thank you for joining me, and how are you today?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for inviting me on the show. Been looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to have you on. I forgot to mention that you are a partner of Peer Guidance as well, and one of the pillars of our team there. So I wanted to throw that out there, and that and how we got connected is we met through the rainforest community one day, and then and now here we are.
Yeah, we met at the summit. We were at the same table, going to create some awesome communication ideas, and we just had so much fun that we had to reconnect again.
And I mean, that's I always talk about how important networking is, and that's why I always bring it up at the top of the broadcast. Is that you just never know who you're talking to or when you're going to meet them. So it turned into a relationship like this.
Yeah, and it was networking and volunteerism because we were there to make a difference for Alberta.
Exactly. Isn't that the truth? Well, I'll get into your bio here, and then we'll get right into the questions. So Dafne leverages 18 years of experimenting with digital strategies. Her 7-second trust marketing formula has received research grants and uses behavioral marketing to create more personalized user experience. A member of the Neuromarketing Business and Science Association and Society for the Advancement of Behavioral Economics, Dafne travels monthly to San Francisco to attend meetings with her advisory board. She's a sought-after speaker and facilitator. This creative innovator never stops giving her time, effort, and talent, even teaching corporate in-house marketing teams the latest digital marketing techniques. And I mean, that's one of the things that intrigued me the most about you when we met. And I know, like you and us and everybody out there in basically Canada, COVID hit you hard, and you know so many of the companies you were working with in branding and had their budget slashed. So please share how this affected you mentally and business wise.
So it was really interesting because it was really hard to like deal with all these phone calls with people, turning their campaigns off. But then I'd have to go into our team meetings and keep everybody excited because everybody was so scared. So I'd be like pulling my hair out, dealing with phone calls, and then I show up at the meeting and be like, hey, everybody, we're going to get through this. And I have some ideas and I have some plans. And I actually invented Project Lemons to Lemonade because of that, because I wanted to keep our team really positive and focused on something awesome. And it turned out to be so good. So I also interview thought leaders, and the team just absolutely loved that. And it gave them something to do, like a purpose to keep hustling and keep doing stuff. So it was like that huge dichotomy between being like this ultra stressed entrepreneur, like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this out of the fire, and showing like a leadership phase where you have to kind of keep the team motivated and paint a picture of how we're going to get out of this. So I made a plan.
Plans are good. Plans are good. And I've seen your Lemons to Lemonade. It's awesome. The guests you have on there are outstanding. And I guess, as I say to all the people that I saw that created new things out there, and there were some awesome ideas come out of people being at home or maybe having more time or whatever it may be. I always ask them, this is great work. Are you going to continue it? So I'm going to put the same question to you.
I am totally going to continue. So I'm interviewing Inc. 5000 CEOs now. And it just turned into like this thing of like every episode I would learn something. And then I ended up, being connected to some entrepreneurs. And I'm on like the Inc. 5000 wagon now, which is super cool because they're really high growth companies. And there's so much for entrepreneurs and smaller businesses to learn from, I guess, the risks or just the way that they've thought about doing a few things. So each company has its own thing that they're really good at. And it's just so interesting. So that's what my next season is going to be.
Well, that's good, because I think the more people that are out there sharing their knowledge and stories and telling people, giving them advice, whatever it may be, will help. And that's basically kind of what we're all here for.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, if you get one nugget that you can implement in your business, then it's, that's amazing. Like, let's all keep sharing knowledge with each other. Otherwise, we're going to be living in silos, but everybody knows there's so much knowledge, right? And everybody's done something and failed and then succeeded from the lessons. And so that's what we want to share with everybody.
No, absolutely. And it's so important. And I mean, people have heard me say this, like our entrepreneurial community here in Alberta is just giving. It's always give, give, give. And they're there for anybody that needs help. And I'm sure you experience the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Alberta's been great. Meeting you, all the peer guidance group has been absolutely amazing. And I'm so grateful to have connected with everybody before all of this happened. So I had people to call and bounce ideas off of, or just say, you know what, I don't feel good today. I just need another entrepreneur to talk to. So that's
absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
So true. So true. So I guess that kind of leads me into my question. I mean, a lot of companies have had to learn to market themselves because of obviously funding. They can't get out there and spend. So are you able to share a few tips of what they should be doing or focusing on?
Yeah. So I teach, like you mentioned, in-house, like corporate in-house marketing teams. And I have this amazing training program. And what I've been noticing lately in my training is that we need to really kind of go back to the core, like the strategy of what you're working on, because we were looking at, okay, how do we do SEO? How do we do campaigns? But in the end, it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? What's your goal? And actually, the tools that I like to go back to are strategizers, so the business model canvas, and looking at what's your value proposition. And I remember in my early entrepreneur days, it was like value proposition. Like, I don't even get what that means, right? And so it's just about looking at how you're different. And one of the tools that I use is called like a differentiator grid. And what you do is you look at your customer, your competitor, how you can be more sustainable, or like, can you keep this this differentiator going? And then does it match up with your brand? And then on the other side of the table, there's things like, is it my brand voice? Is it the niche that I'm focusing on? Is it the way I deliver service? And so you look at all the things, like the way that you run your business, and you start ranking them. How am I totally different from my competitor? Does my customer love it? Can I keep it going? And find like what's really unique about your company. So I think that's like super important from a marketing perspective, is to go back to the core right now. Because if you're just like marketing, kind of like blasting to the world, what I find that's like standing on the edge or like on the top of a building with a megaphone, like, hey, everybody. And you're kind of like talking to no one, right? Yeah. And then if you have like a really specific strategy where you're like, this is the exact person I need to talk to, then that's more like going into a room of, let's say, for me, this is my latest project, personal injury lawyers. Like, I don't want to yell from the rooftops. I want to go into a room of personal injury lawyers in San Diego, and then that would be like my dream come true, and I can offer them what I have. But if I don't have that focus, if I say like every lawyer, then I'm kind of like going nowhere. And it's an entrepreneurial trap that I have personally, gone through for many years until I figured out like a focus. So it's a lesson that I want to teach others. One of my mentors always says, don't be the buffet, be the fine dining, pick, French or pick Asian or, whatever the different foods are, so that you can be like really specific about your offer. So that's a huge lesson for me.
No, I mean, and that's the truth, right? If people are just out there, I've seen so many people just say, I'm going to blast this out there. And it works, I guess, nice if you're Nike or McDonald's and you have
an unlimited budget, right?
This is my branding budget or whatever it is. But if you're going to spend $100 on something, it better be specific and you hopefully get some return on it.
Yeah, and I think that's like the thing with the small business too, is, or the solo entrepreneur, like just or somebody with no budget, right? You could be whatever size company, but your money is so limited that you cannot do this general, we call them brand awareness campaign, where it's like, anybody, I just want you to know who I am. Well, you can't do that. You don't have the room, and your results have to be just really specific, or you have to get your return on investment back so you can put money back in. So it's all about running little experiments. So when we talk about like the value proposition, you come up with something. It might not be like the right thing, but it's like the best thing that you can think of right now. And then you try that hypothesis. So everything, like is an experiment. To me, that's the way that I run marketing. Is like everything is like a lab experiment. Here's my hypothesis. This is what I based that hypothesis on, and now let's go test that. So, and then do I have the right audience? Do I have the right target message? Do I have the right pictures? And then you have to keep running these experiments until you figure out the right formula for your company, because at first it's all an experiment until somebody buys from you or makes an appointment with you. That's when and then you have to like reverse engineer, okay, what did I do to get there? So yeah, right. So and especially when you don't have a lot of money to spend, and nobody should do that. Even if you do have a lot of money to spend, you should be using it like wisely with all these little experiments.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Again, I'm talking with Dafne Canales Lees, founder of Spartan Spark, SpartanSpark.com. You can click on her website in the comment section. It'll take you directly there. Obviously, Community Now magazine's link is there, as well as Peer Guidance. But you brought up a very good point, and just to kind of prove you practice what you preach. I mean, you're such a positive, infectious person. I love having coffee with you. I love working with you. Just talking with you puts a smile on my face. But you took this little bump in the road and you turned it into an opportunity. Let's talk about that a little bit. Please share what you did.
Yeah, so I actually did two things. I did our bump in the road was like, I need to do something now to keep the team motivated, to keep my brand in the spotlight, or like, I don't want to be faded into the weeds. I don't like being in the weeds. I like being out front and center, laughing with everybody. And then I had to have like a plan for the future. So I took this opportunity. We had no clients. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to work on a project that I wanted to work on for myself that I thought would take way longer. And it's called Trustinis, Trustini.com. And it's for people who have been injured in a motor vehicle accident, and it's connecting them with the right lawyer. And it actually comes from my own journey, where I had that double brain injury in 2018 from a snowboarding accident. And then I had to get into a corporate lawsuit with a global company 3 months later. So I felt the pain of not being able to like fully function, being in like physical pain, being, mentally not super well. And then my lawyer got suspended 3 days before the trial. So then I'm like, I have all this knowledge of how to get leads, high-end leads, and I have this amazing trust formula. And so I put all of that together, and I found this niche, and it's taken me a while, many iterations. I tried different areas of law before, but then I finally was like, hey, I think this is it, and I think this is the time for us to work on it. So for the past 3 months, we've been working on this project. And funny enough, Jade, we pressed play on the ads today because we had all these, I'm like, today is an amazing accomplishment day. We got to have like our little champagne out because we have pop, pop, pop. We had all these technical things. Like we have this specialized software, like we have all this software side to our business, and all of those pieces had to get into place, and just so many things had to line up, right? And I'm running this project, as I mentioned before, in San Diego for many reasons. And so it had to, like, everything had to line up. I had to make connections. I had to meet the right people. So that was like kind of like the guiding light for our team, and just, trying to find, and it was like a sleepless night. I'll never forget March 13th, 2020 was like, what am I going to do to keep my business going, to keep my employees, working? What am I going to do? And I just thought of these things, Project Lemons to Lemonade. We're going to interview people. And I was interviewing sometimes 3 times a day, which was kind of insane. But at the same time, it made me, like, I realized it made me super happy to meet all these awesome entrepreneurs and have these great conversations like we're having. So it's like, okay, this is my energizer. And at the same time, I'm helping our community. And then I have this project in the background that I kept secret until today.
No, I know you've mentioned it to me before, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And I think it goes to show when someone's driven that number one, you can't go down there, you can't see him face to face. You're able to build trust over Zoom, over virtual connections, which is impressive on its own. And when I tell people that, I mean, I'm a big face-to-face guy and I love it. And, but the connections I've been able to make over the last, 4 months have been outstanding, because chances are maybe some of them, I might not have been to meet someone. We've not been in the same circles. So I think that's kudos. And it's a very good lesson to all the entrepreneurs out there that,
yeah. And
because you're in your own home doesn't mean you can't network.
Exactly. And like globally, right? And so what happened, what I noticed with what happened to us in COVID is like the world got flat for a second. And then I was like, oh my, and I didn't even know that this was an opportunity. I actually went to a virtual conference and I noticed a few glitches in some of their, like when you did the registration. So I offered some tips, I volunteered to help. And so it was again through that volunteering or like through my constant helping out, because I can't help not help when I see something wrong. And I was like, hey, you guys, you could do like some social media marketing like this. And then, that organization was like, okay, well, why don't you help us if you're offering all this great advice? I'm like, great. And I got involved in the San Diego business community. And I've now been elected onto the board of a really great organization. I'm part of, a group, like a big group of, different groups that network together. And that's how I've been able to build quickly, because that's what I needed, is to find these personal injury lawyers, which are actually really hard to find. They like don't hang out with anybody else. So, so yeah, I'm like, I can't believe that I did it. I accomplished this much in such a short period of time, but it was like just nonstop, right?
No,
building relationships.
Yeah, you cannot I cannot even stress enough how important that is. So it's good to hear. Have a really nice success story and a launching today. I said that is awesome. And for any more information, the Trustini website is up there. You can click on it in the comments section and it'll take you directly to the site. Of course, you can go to Spartan Spark Peer Guidance as well to find out a little more about Dafne. So you've been teaching CEOs in San Francisco and that have been successful businesses, but need to really learn how to network online. And obviously, you've got some great examples of doing that. So how can you share what you know and what you have and what you've done? How easy is that to teach these CEOs? Kind of, I don't know if I want to call it a new trick or how to do it.
It's been really interesting because I know it so well that I'm like, oh yeah, you just do this, this, and this, and then they're like, and then they're like, okay, you got to slow down a little bit. So what I figured out is like the easiest way to teach it is to kind of go backwards. So it's like, what is your goal? So there's we know that there's two kinds of companies. You're a service company or you're a product company. So let's give an example of a service company. You're selling, virtual events, or you're selling live events, just because this was my latest example. And so what is the goal? Okay, I want people to book with me. I want people to do like a discovery session with me, or I want to sell my biggest package, right? So you have to be, again, super clear on if your goal is your biggest package, which I would actually recommend going for the biggest package, because then you can downsell. Like if you're always going for like the intro package, then it's kind of hard to get to that customer who wants the biggest package. So that's my favorite, is going for the biggest package. And if you kind of reverse engineer that goal, okay, so if the biggest package is my goal, what do I need next? I need a landing page or some way to communicate what this package is about. So it's going to have testimonials on it and all this information. It's going to have bullet points, easy to read and like really well laid out. These are all the awesome things we're going to do for you. Again, it goes back to that value proposition. This is why we should do it. This is, the success we've had. Now go back one more step. How do you get people there? So now you have to either do some kind of like lead nurturing or lead outbound campaign. You got to get people to this website so that they can see that you have this awesome landing page. And the landing page, you could test a couple things. One could be like a video where you're explaining everything, you're teaching something, so you're showing your expertise. And the other one is going to be like just all written. And I actually have a colleague who has 2 landing pages for this awesome business that she has. And she has like just as many conversions, whether it's like that video that gives all the free advice, and then it's like, buy now, or that long landing page. And she can't turn either one off. Like, she's running these experiments and they both work. So it's different kinds of people, right? That's what that means. And so again, we take another step back. We're like, okay, are we running Facebook ads? Is it a consumer audience? Are we running Google ads? Are people searching for what we're looking for? So you just keep taking those mini steps back to figure out what your funnel looks like. So it's kind of like plotting out that customer journey, but it all starts, and everything will change the minute you're like, okay, my offer is not the big package, it's something else. And so like the whole funnel changes all over again. So those are like, that's kind of like what you need to picture in your mind with your team, The same thing with a product. Let's say you're selling jewelry. What jewelry do you want to sell? What makes you the most profit? Maybe that's what you look at right now. And so then you map it all backwards. Oh, I want to sell these earrings or this collection. And then you're going to start, mapping everything towards that sale, right? Leading people towards that sale. But it all starts at what's your goal? Who are you selling to?
I mean, you can't get any more simple than that, right? Like, it's just people try and complicate marketing, trying to complicate digital ads, trying to say you have to spend this, you have to do that, you have to have the landing page or a video, a sell. I mean, it's simple. I mean, and people try and complicate the digital marketing space, and it confuses people. And that's some of the problems I have with some of these. I mean, I don't think the KISS, the keep it simple, stupid comes into play so many times.
It's so important.
And just get to the point, sell something, and away we go. It doesn't have to be 6 or 7 paragraphs on your things. It could 3 to 4 sentences, and let's go. And I mean, I just love hearing that from people like yourself.
Yeah, and it's all about trying little experiments. Like I'm just always saying, like, just try something, see if it works. If it doesn't work, what can you change? What can you do better? But you have to go out there and try something. Like a Girl Guide. If she doesn't knock on the door to sell her cookies, she doesn't know if she can sell cookies.
Well, exactly. I mean, you still have. I mean, that's a prime example, because I use our daughters would walk across the street, sell almost a case to the gentleman across there because he loves them so much. And then they would go knock on door to door to find a few more. And then they would set out up front in the driveway and sell a few more. So that's a prime example of 3 different ways to market Girl Guide cookies.
Exactly. And I love, like childish, I don't know if it's like, it's not behavior, but like that childish mindset where like the kids aren't scared to knock on the door and people like, no, thank you. And they're like, okay, whatever. Next person.
Next.
But as adults, we're like, oh my God, they're going to say no to me. So
very true. I am now going to use that analogy, the Girl Guides analogy. I think that's absolutely perfect.
Yeah. So
I guess, Dafne, what's next for you?
Trustini is my next project. So Trustini is, Spartan Spark is doing all the marketing for Trustini. So it's kind of a related project, but this is kind of like a way for me to use my software as a product, essentially. And so that's what I'm trying out, and that's what I'm looking forward to, this latest experiment, and see where it takes me.
I mean, I'm excited, and I'm glad that you finally, were able to launch it, and it launched today. That's excellent. And I'm looking forward to hearing back, how you're going to be looking for those Jim the Hammer Shapiros, that commercial I've seen my entire life.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be coming to me because I'm going to be getting all the clients for them, and they're going to be coming to me. So that's what my experiment is about, is can I create more trust in the marketplace than the way that personal injury lawyers have been doing their marketing? Can I do something totally different, trust-based, super empathetic, compassionate? It's all those words that we're talking about today in COVID and what's happening in the world. And I think I can really stand out using our trust-based strategies, the 7-second trust formula, all the things that I've created over the last couple of decades. This is it.
Exactly. So my last question to you, is the same as everybody else's. If you had one piece of advice for a startup, entrepreneur, or a small business, Dafne, what would that be?
I think it would be definitely invest in experts, because you're going to spend a lot of time doing things yourself, not the right way. So invest in like mentors, or hire an expert, even just to give you advice, not necessarily, maybe you can't afford their big campaigns, but you can definitely afford to get educated on what you don't know by the people who are doing it right and over again, and making a big difference.
Yes, couldn't agree more. I mean, you're going to spend money one way or the other. And if you're going to spend it trying to figure it out, it could cost a heck of a lot more than having someone help you out with a plan to make sure that your goals are set and you're able to achieve. And I mean, I love it that you mentioned a mentor, because it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go out and hire peer guidance. I mean, you come to peer guidance, we'll probably give you some of that help for free anyway. That's what we've been doing. I mean, that's why we waived the fees for our clients over COVID.
Yeah.
And still kept up with working with them. But not everybody does that. And I mean, it's so important that you ask for help, because we're here for you. There's lots of people here for you. And God, I mean, I'll, you know, look at Mo for an example. I mean, someone like Eric, I introduced him to Mo and now he's his mentor. And I mean, it's things like that happen. And now it can happen to so many other people.
Yeah, and those are the people that you want to go to, is like the experts that are like true experts are always sharing their knowledge. And so, you'll know that this is an expert if they're not guarded with their knowledge, because the ones who are guarded, they don't have, like, they're not an abundance of knowledge and expertise, right? It flows out of us and we're like, oh, let me help you here, let me help you there. So definitely when you're looking for an expert, look for the people who are active in the community or volunteering or mentoring others when they can. Those are going to be the people that really share that knowledge freely. And maybe there's an opportunity to hire them for like a workshop, a strategy, whatever it is. But it's just a certain type of person, I think, that helps others.
Yeah. And even if they give you advice now, maybe a year down the road, they have money, revenue coming in, guess who they're going to come to hire? I mean, someone who helped them out and gave them the advice that they needed in a time of need. So it's definitely a give back society, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And kind of, we do what we do.
Yeah, always pay it forward and it always comes back around. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Dafne, I can't thank you enough for coming on, sharing your knowledge today. And for anybody that wants to find out more information about Dafne, just click on their websites in the comments section. It'll take you directly there. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself, and Daphne's information is there as well. So thank you so much, Dafne.
Okay, thank you.
And I hope everybody has a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Woohoo!
Bye-bye.